back. It's 2019. Happy New Year. It is the first episode of 2019. I had a blast New Year's. I'm ready to get this year going. Got some great new film projects coming up, TV show coming up, the whole thing. I am Imani Shakur, film director.
Oh, excuse me. I'm Devon Hewett, author of Romantic Propaganda. Book is in the description. Click the link. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Check it out. Phantom Edition, now in white. Start off the new year with a great book and a great topic to discuss with your friends and family.
There you go. Another one of his shameless plugs for 2019. But it's all right. Anyway, the podcast is inspired by Devon's book. I'm just giving him a hard time. You can pick it up on right Amazon. You guys see it. It's not, listen, the podcast is not about his book, but inspired by his book. It's a big difference.
Content's in there.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff is in there. Book is in there. Anyway, guys, like I always say, we're broadcasting the truth and exposing the lies. It's a man's perspective on love, sex, relationships, women, and everything in between. It's real and it's uncut. And most importantly, we're telling the truth. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can get answers and insight on relationships. Email your questions and topics to rptalktruth@gmail.com. All of it will be in the description. In the description. You can catch us on Twitter, Romantic Propaganda. The hashtag is Why Do Men and Why Do Women. We will answer those at the end of the show. And Devon, I think when we ended last year,
oh man,
you went
2018.
First. I know that was a long episode too.
Ooh, check out 2018 special episode 5.
Yeah, it's almost an hour long. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, check out. Yeah, I went first that time.
Yeah, so I think I'm going first, guys, in 2019. And my topic today is we're gonna tell you the topics first, and then I'll go. So mine is zodiac signs and dating. Does the zodiac matter when you're dating someone new? And what's
my topic is going to be who should pay for your dinner. That's what it's going to be. Who should pay for the first meal, man or the woman? Why the man should or should not, and what does that mean if he does or does not?
Okay.
Go with
All
that.
right, so I'm going to jump it off. And this is the first thing I want to say about the whole zodiac sign thing, because I have a lot of friends who tell me, Imani, I don't care about that zodiac, dog. That don't mean nothing to me. I don't care if she's an Aries, a Taurus, a Cancer. She just got to be good and this, that, and the other. Well, I have news for you. And here's the whole thing. First of all, let me explain it from a spiritual standpoint. When it comes to zodiac signs, basically it goes like this. Before someone even called it a zodiac, before someone even named the constellation, before someone even did any of that, people realized that people that were born around the same time just seem to share the same general characteristics. You know what I mean? Then they started to actually discover that people that seem to be born around certain times seem to, for some reason, work more and would be more compatible with someone, you know, of one sign as opposed to a different sign. And when they realized that, someone just documented it. So my whole point is, this isn't something that someone just made up and said, oh, you know, Aquarius shouldn't date Taurus because it is, so so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. That stuff already existed. They just labeled it and said people that are born around Aquarius or Capricorn in January, you know, you share these characteristics. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's even named after the stars and the shapes of the stars and stuff like that. That stuff was already named, and they just brought it to our birthdays and when we were actually born. You know what I mean? And whether you believe it or not, it's an absolute fact, and you don't have to believe it for it to be true, that when you date someone that is in one of your compatible sign areas, you'll have way more success than if you dated someone that was not. For example, I'm an Aquarius born on Valentine's Day. If you look it up, one of my worst matches is Taurus. One of my best matches is Aries for some reason, and Sagittarius. And I can tell you, I've dated a Taurus and it was an absolute disaster. And I can tell you that I've dated an Aries and Sagittarius, and it was fine. And even though we're still not together, we didn't have those problems that me and that Taurus had. And guys, and girls, I'm not saying that if you date someone that your zodiac matches, it's going to be an absolute success. Relationships fall apart for many reasons. What I am saying is, if you date someone that does match your zodiac, your chances of success is much higher than if you date someone that's not, because certain problems are already gonna exist with me. Let's say if I'm with a Taurus, that's gonna be already a hurdle to get through before we even get to if she's honest or loyal or trustworthy. Before we even get to that, there's gonna be problems. You know what I'm trying to say? Before we even get to, does she have a job? Do our tone levels match? Does she dress right? Is she respectful? Is she kind? Before we even get to that, based on our zodiac, there's going to be tons of hurdles to overcome. Whereas, and I'm only using me as an example, whereas if I had a Sagittarius, these hurdles wouldn't even exist. Now we're focusing on the other stuff, the trust, the respectful. Is she a career woman? Is she kind? You know what I'm trying to say? All of that good stuff. And again, go back and check. And I'm not saying if you date a zodiac that it's opposite, it can't work. That's possible too, but it takes a lot of work on both people's behalf. A lot of work. And a lot of compromise and a lot of patience. It just takes a lot of work. And we all know that relationships take work anyway. So now you're adding work on top of work on top of work. You know what I'm saying? You might as well sing that Rihanna song, work, work, work.
Oh
work,
my
work.
gosh, don't stop. No. Maybe that's what she meant.
I'm just saying.
Maybe that's what she meant.
I'm just saying, if you guys don't believe me, check it out. Peep it. Go back to all your relationships. And if you were never into this before, look up your zodiac. I want you to read the characteristic traits of your zodiac, and I want you to look at the traits of that other person that you were with that it didn't work out, and read it and tell me if it matched or not. And even if there was someone else that it did work and it ended, go back and look it up. And I bet you it worked out better with the person that all the zodiac scientists say was a better match for you. Now, if you want to rebuttal, I have more to say, but I'll let Devon chime in.
Well, see, I'm kind of traditional. I don't believe in the zodiac. I do see. I read about them. I know what some of the characteristics are. I know what my zodiac is. I'm a Virgo.
Okay.
And I've dibbled at it within it before, and I don't really follow it. Nor do I believe it makes a person more successful in a relationship that are dating the same signs versus not, because zodiac signs have been around for thousands of years, actually. You know, they date back way before the Roman times, the Greek times, actually way back in Babylonian times, they had their own zodiac. And then the Greeks kind of copied it and made their own, right? But back then it wasn't about romance. It wasn't about dating. It was all about their gods of the month they were born on. And now it became part of a romance relationship and things like that. So nowadays, it's like they use the zodiac signs as what's your sign, this and this and this and this. To me, that's propaganda. See, that's propaganda. And you're feeding into it the moment you start saying, what's your sign? You know, oh, and I'm not even saying do that.
No,
not you, but people are like, what's your sign?
I know what you're saying.
Oh, you're a Virgo or Scorpio or this and that, or Aries or what are the other ones, or Taurus. I can't vibe with you because my paid subscription tells me I pay every month.
See, I'm not even saying do this.
The horoscope tells me not to date you. But I want to say this. Isn't it funny, guys, how relationships before zodiac signs became a trend, like from the 70s, 80s, 90s up to now, before it became a trend, relationships seemed to work out a little bit more than they do now. I mean, men came home, wives were home, women went to work, men were faithful. There was a family unit. Everybody worked out. Everybody was honest. But now it just seems like everybody's so into all these zodiac signs at a point in time, relationships are doing the worst. You know, it's like, I'd be surprised. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if a man and woman are getting to know each other without knowing each other's signs at first and figuring out, hey, we actually do get together. But then read their signs and find out, oh, it doesn't work together. It says that we don't. What would they do? Leave your comment in the your opinion in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. But zodiac signs to me, I think for some there might be a great compass, to point you in the right direction. But I think when some people take it overboard, you know what I'm saying? When they absolutely will not vibe with you or talk to you because you're a Taurus or because you're a Virgo or whatever, I think that's a little bit toxic in the sense that you don't know really what you're saying goodbye to. And you said they made these things and they made these qualities, and who is they and who are they to determine who is right for you and who is not? What authority do they have to say a Virgo is compatible with a Taurus and a Taurus is compatible with a Cancer and not? And who has the authority for you to put that faith into? That's what I want to say. Just be careful out there, guys.
Right. Well, okay, guys. So Devon is absolutely wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. Look at his face. I'm going to tell you why.
How am I wrong? Who is they?
That's why it's a podcast.
I'll add this.
We could debate. I have a good answer for him. I wasn't trying to be rude. I was writing notes down.
But I'll add this. Why he thinks I'm wrong. It's because what are you, Aries?
Aquarius.
If an Aquarius goes into a relationship knowing that he's not compatible with a Taurus, I know I'm not. Everything that a Taurus does is going to stand out more and be amplified.
He's absolutely wrong.
No, I'm serious.
So first of all,
not all Tauruses are what they say.
Okay, you're right. I said generally speaking. So let me tell you guys why Devon is wrong. You know how he mentioned back in the 50s and 60s or before this stuff came out, people were successful and all that. First of all, guys, it's not about Aries, Aquarius, Taurus, this, that, and the other. That's not what it's about. He's missing a point, and I want to make sure you guys don't miss the point. Don't focus on the terms and the names. But I'm sure if you go back whenever, 40s, 50s, 60s, 20s, 1800s, whether you called it something or not, whether someone wrote books about it or not, I can guarantee you, I could put my money on it, that people that were born a certain time and their mate was born in a more compatible time, I guarantee you the percentages of those relationships lasted much longer and were far more successful. And I'm not saying go up to someone in a bar or lounge and go, "What's your sign? Taurus? Oops, I'm gone." I'm not saying that, guys. I'm not even finished. I'm not even saying
you said that though.
No, I didn't. I'm not even saying base it on that. When you meet someone out, don't even base it on it. If you are into zodiacs and you use that as like a bar, still give that person a chance. Don't go into it going, "Oh, if that person is a Taurus or a Scorpio, it's not going to work, so I'm not even going to try." I still want you to go along with it the same way you would any other person or any other relationship. I'm not saying to use that. I'm not saying to use that as your guide. I also said that there are a lot of relationships that are opposite zodiacs that actually work, but it takes more work. That's all. That's basically what I said.
See, that's propaganda.
It's propaganda.
They want you to think that way.
And I also said that if you date someone that is around the same compatible sign as you will find that it will be a lot more successful. Like I said, let's take me again. I'm sure there are millions of Aquariuses and Tauruses that has lasted a lifetime. But I guarantee you they work their ass off for it. You know what I'm saying? And there's what's a more compatible sign mean? And there's Aquarius and Sagittarius that didn't last, only lasted a week or two. And it had nothing to do with the sign.
So it's not about the sign.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's not about the sign. It's about when you were born. It's about when you were born, and when you were born around a certain time, universally, spiritually, you seem to have certain characteristics. That's an absolute fact.
Propaganda.
And whether you believe it or not, you can test it and try it out. I'm willing to put my money on it.
Of course, you have faith in it. I understand.
It has nothing to do with faith.
It is faith.
Faith is when you believe something. This is a fact.
No, it's not a fact.
Faith is when
it's not a fact because
faith is when you believe.
Because that's like saying if I date someone that likes basketball and I like basketball, we got a
That's
better
not
chance.
what like this is saying.
Yeah, we better.
That's not what it's saying at all.
No, because you're encompassing it. Let me finish. Hold on.
Go ahead.
He is saying that he's betting money, millions of dollars, whatever. He's betting his money that if Aquarius is compatible with what?
Sagittarius.
They'll have a higher chance, a success rate.
Absolutely.
Okay, because why they have certain qualities.
There's something about those two zodiacs that for some reason it meshes. And the Taurus, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Let me take it further. Let's take Taurus and Aquarius, right? Aquariuses like to be free. We like to be loved, but like to be free. That's not true.
Don't most people like
Tauruses? No, that's not true. You're absolutely wrong.
It's a scam.
Let me finish. Tauruses, on the other hand, they don't like to be free. They like to be with their loved one every single day.
Not all of them.
Generally speaking.
But a lot of people like to be
Generally speaking, they are. They're very possessive, jealous, control. Bro, Aquariuses are not like that. We are known to not be like that. And Tauruses are known to be like that. That's it. You can read it in every single book that's ever been written about them. People that were born around that time, you don't even have to call it Taurus. Call it water. Call it a hammer. Don't get caught in the names, guys. It's just about a person that was born in that time frame. They seem to some reason, based on the universe and the stars and everything else, have this characteristic. Generally speaking, I'm not saying that it's the gospel. Generally speaking, they will share these characteristics and traits. In other words, if there's 10 women stand up in front of me, probably 8 of them will have what I'm talking about. Maybe you find those 2 Tauruses that don't.
No, but see, the reason why is because there's 12 months in a year, right?
Right.
12 zodiac signs. Each zodiac sign has about 20 different characteristics. If you take all those characteristics and put them in a box, every human being on the planet will be familiar with those characteristics. Everyone expresses and demonstrates those different characteristics based on past trauma, past personal experience, current personal experience, education level, status, culture. Everybody. Some people in other cultures are more possessive over their marriage mates, and they're not Tauruses. But some will be Tauruses that are in that culture that
I agree with that too.
But it's not the sign.
I agree with that too.
It's just
that Venice, because you do have some people that were born around a certain time that are actually aberrated. And they're not in line with their sign because they were molested, because their dad left them when they were 3 years old, because they were raped 5 times.
Okay.
You know what I'm trying to say?
So if a woman...
or because she was completely abused. And that woman is not living her true self. She is aberrated within when she was born because of what she's been through. So that person is going to be
So the universe is out of control.
Or, I never said that. Or, like you say, based on culture and stuff like that, a person's a certain way. But that's also an aberration. It is not normal for in the Middle East to men to completely control women and make them wear hijab the whole time.
Who are we to define?
That isn't normal. A man made that up. And I don't want to get religious and spiritual and have Muslims all around the world hating our podcast, but I'm simply saying there are a lot of things that happen in our society around the world that's not supposed to be. So in those situations, the woman that's an Aquarius that's born like in that range and acts the way every single Aquarius female that I've met act, she may act different because of her social environment. But innately, deep down, she's not living her true self, and that's what her characteristics generally will be.
Here's the point I'm trying to make. I'm going to make it just as simple as this. I'm a Virgo. Taurus is supposed to be strong, bullheaded, right there.
They're supposed to be way more than that.
You can't waver from their perspectives, right? You can't. But see, I'm that way too. But if I was born, what year is Taurus? I don't know.
Taurus is like
July,
April to May.
April, right? So
end of April to like middle May.
But I was born in September. But yet I'm that way too. But if I was born in April, they'd be, oh, of course you're that way because you're a Taurus, and that's what amplifies.
But it's not gonna go. But Devon, it's not gonna be the way the Taurus would be, right? So I'm gonna read you guys something real quick, and then we'll move on. That last show was kind of
propaganda.
It's not propaganda at all. I'm gonna read you guys something real quick, and I can only share from my own experiences.
Everybody's sometimes arrogant and strong-minded.
That's not the kind of stuff I'm talking that I'm talking about, right? So, all right, guys. So listen to this. So this is Aquarius man, Taurus female. So it says,
who wrote that?
in order for what? I mean, there's tons of books. They all say the same thing though.
Okay.
This stuff has been studied for years. In order for Aquarius man, Taurus woman compatibility to thrive, the Taurus woman will need to curb some of her selfishness and will definitely have to lose her possessive streak. Absolutely facts. In return, the Aquarius man will have to try harder to connect emotionally and will need to tone down his relentlessness. The Taurus woman will not be able to trust him unless he shows some signs of commitment, and both trust and commitment are key issues for the Taurus woman. And that's an absolute fact. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Aquariuses, we're one of the only zodiacs in the entire zodiac that's always accused of not being caring and compassionate. We're humanitarians, but we're always accused of not caring and not being as compassionate and focused, especially when in a weird relationship. And I have to admit, I've been guilty of this for years, and until I started studying this stuff, I learned more about myself. At first, I actually thought, Devon, I know you don't believe this stuff, but, but before I learned it, I actually thought something was wrong with me. I'm like, why am I like this? Then when I started reading up about my zodiac, I was like, oh, no wonder I'm like this. Everybody's like this. No wonder I feel like this, and I don't want to do this, and I want to do that, and I feel more free. And you know what I'm trying to say?
I know,
dude.
I know what you're trying to say.
Absolute.
But your zodiac could have read something completely different, and you would have picked out qualities that you manifest to fit that.
That's not what I'm talking about. You're like trying to rationalize the whole thing. No, that's not what I'm talking about.
You're saying that people who exhibit, okay, maybe it's not zodiac signs. People who were born around the same time.
People who exhibit generally share the same characteristics.
People who exhibit certain characteristics vibe better than others that exhibit certain characteristics. Yeah, that's a fact of life. That's not zodiac signs. It's, if I like football and she likes football, we might get along better.
I'm not even talking about that.
Okay.
If I'm selfish, so what we're gonna do is agree to disagree on this one.
If I'm selfish, I might deal with someone that's more of a pleaser. A pleaser might work better with someone that isn't a pleaser, but someone that might be selfish. That's just how things work with people and characteristics. Not a lot, the stars made me this way and this star did this. The star is a burning gas of energy. It's not supernatural.
And no one is saying the star made anyone anyway. But once again, guys, we're going to agree to disagree on this one and move on.
I mean, it's interesting.
I believe in zodiacs. I have, many life experiences that, proof, you know what I mean? What's true for you is true for you or whatever. Devon doesn't have to believe it. He doesn't have to. But I guarantee you, if he reads up about Virgos, he'll see himself.
I have. And it says Virgos like to write. Some Virgos turn into authors. Virgos are very emotional and passionate.
And what are you, Devon?
I'm a Virgo.
What else are you?
I wrote a book.
Thank you.
But hold on. How many?
What did he say he read? How many of those are authors?
How many?
Guess what, guys? He wrote a book. You know what I'm saying?
How many? Anyway, hold on. How many people have written books that aren't Virgos? That's what I'm saying.
That's not the point. You're missing it. I guarantee you.
Of course, it's going to be.
That's not the point.
Of course, there's 9 billion people on the planet. Of course, someone born in September eventually is going to write a book.
Right, but that doesn't mean that a non-Virgo won't write a book. All it's saying that people that were born around when you were born, generally speaking, they may become an author, whereas an Aquarius may not. That's
you can say that for anybody,
zodiac, but yet I've written a book.
But you can say that
for me with my book, even though I'm not a Virgo.
But you can say that for any month of the year. Eventually, someone's going to want to write a book.
No,
all right, whatever.
See, so guys, as you can see,
leave in the comments.
Hold on, guys, as you can see, even though he don't totally believe in it, he's still living what he don't believe.
No, that's not true. Okay, so if Virgos like to drink water and I'm drinking water,
we're not talking
it's the universe. Come on,
we're not talking about
that's propaganda. You're from LA.
No, I'm not. I'm not from LA.
Okay, you used to live there. I live there, and trust me, LA is full of the universe and the stars. And you don't go to Alabama and they talk like that. There's a reason for that. It's cultural. It's cultural.
There's people that believe in zodiacs all around the world. So anyway, we're gonna agree to disagree on this one, guys. Comment below. Chime in, please, on this. This is a hot topic. Like him, I have other friends that don't believe it.
It's
I have
propaganda.
other friends that do believe it. And what I can say in closing, what's true is true for you. And I will say this, even though he may say it's propaganda, whether you believe it or not does not mean it's not for real. That's what I want to say. What do you want to say?
I don't know.
Before you move
that
on.
sounds like, God or Gandhi talk now. That's okay. All right, moving on.
What's your topic?
Yeah, moving on. All right.
Zodiac is always a hot one, though. Always.
It is. It's very. That's what Biggie said. He said, "What's your name? What's your sign? What's that song?
Yeah.
Big Papa."
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so moving on. Question: should a man pay for a woman's dinner on the first date? Answer: no. But if you're Steve Harvey, you'll say yeah, right? Because Steve Harvey wants to please his woman audience. That's another topic. That's propaganda. But a man should not have to pay for your dinner. See, paying for women's dinners actually starts back, whenever. Really, it just talks about it. Really, it highlights that men are supposed to be the providers, right? The breadwinners. That's all propaganda. Woman could be a supporter too financially. She can pay for a man's meal. Whether a man pays for your meal or not does not determine his ethic as a person. He can still be a good man and not pay for your dinner. Paying for a woman's dinner or providing for a woman in other countries where they have a government and women can't excel in the career world. Some women in other countries need permission to drive a car. Some women are under male oppression in other countries. So the idea of a man being in control of things actually roots back to corruption. And so when you say I would like a man to pay for my meal, you're kind of feeding into that corrupt agenda that originates from that corruption. I've heard women say, well, if he can't pay for my meal, if he can't afford it, how can he pay for my mortgage?
But you shouldn't be paying for a mortgage anyway.
Are you paying for your own mortgage?
Right.
And that's another thing too, is that we men want to see a woman that puts forth effort. Unfortunately, too many women have just sit around and glossed around. They spend more money on their hair and makeup to look nice, and they spend on their selves to improve in their talents or discover their talents or to give a man a gift or to pay for his meal. We men don't want women that are waiting for us to provide for them. We want a woman, like I said before, if we're down and out for the count, they can help provide for us. Because relationships, marriage, dating, it's a mutual thing. It's a teamwork. It's 50-50.
If I can interject real quick, Gucci Mane, his wife, Kiora, when he got put in jail, Gucci left her with like $2 million. And she flipped it. He was away, I think, for 3 years. And she flipped it and turned it into $6 million.
See, that's a wife, right?
When he got out.
See?
And now she's a millionaire. He's still a millionaire. And they got married recently. It's all over social media. But my point is, that's a good point.
So women, if your husband gives you $2 million, can you flip it and make it 6?
Yeah.
So if your standard is, a man has to pay, his standard should say, well, if I give you $2 million, can you turn it into 6? And if you can't, then you're not worth my time. So, no, men shouldn't pay for your meal, women. I heard some women tell me, well, if he brings out coupons or paid with his credit card, he ain't a real man. To me, that's a smart man. A smart man economically finds every way he can save. It's not being cheap. What's the other word that's called? It's not being cheap. It's, I don't know. Maybe you guys can figure it out. But a man who uses coupons, there's no shame in that. I always try to save $1, $2, because that $2, I could turn it into 5. I could turn that 5 into 10. It's just how my mind works when it comes to finances and money. And a smart man is a man they're careful with his money. So a man can have money in the bank, but if he wants to take you out to Applebee's, let it be Applebee's. Doesn't mean he's cheap. Doesn't mean he can't afford it. It just means that, hey, I like Applebee's. I like their food. And then I could 2 for $20. Hey, that's good for me. But see, women, some of us men test you that way. We might have money in the bank and we'll take you to McDonald's. See how you're going to act. Now,
I wouldn't do that.
I'm not saying take it to McDonald's. I'm not saying take it to McDonald's. Right. But I'm saying that women, you have to get out of your mindset that a man is here to pay for you or take care of you. Once you have that, you're not going to expect him to pay for your meal. I remember I used to date someone, and then every time we went out, She paid half, I paid half. And that was so weird.
Call that Dutch, right?
That was Dutch. Yeah, that was so rare for me because I thought she didn't like me. But then she'll call me up and say, hey, can I see you again? And every time we went out, she would either pay for me or pay for herself. And I was like, why do you do that? She's like, well, I just like paying for myself. I don't want a man to pay for me. I can pay for my own. But what that shows me is that she values my time.
Right.
She's not getting a free meal. She's not hanging out just to get something to eat or drink for free. But if she didn't want to be there, she didn't have to. And she's also spending her own money to spend time with me. But when a man pays for your women or you demand it, you're demanding that a man spends money for your time. And a man shouldn't have to spend money for your time when he's trying to get to know you. You have to earn that credibility that you're worth X amount of. You're basically saying your time is worth a bill.
Right.
You're trying to say your time is worth $100. And when you say that, that's a little bit. It's kind of like I don't want to date with someone that thinks that way. What do you think, Imani?
I don't know. I mean, that's really a good question. I remember meeting women and they saying, yeah, let's go out to eat. And you could tell they said it because they were trying to get a meal.
Right.
And ladies, I don't know if you're hungry, you can't afford dinner, but that's what it seemed like. I don't know if that's what it was, but you could literally tell that she was just trying to get a meal that night. It wasn't really about getting to know me. And I know that didn't answer the question. Let me think about that for a second. Should the man, go ahead.
See, men, be careful about what he said. There's a lot of women out there who are single, unhappy, but they're thirsting for your validation. So not all women, but some women will sit there on a Friday night, pick up their phone, mine's over there, pick up their phone, and be like, I have no plans tonight.
Who'll get me a dinner tonight?
Well, they know because you're texting them all day, every day, liking their photos, commenting, DM, saying you're beautiful. They know if they hit you up and say, let's get a drink, you'll pay for it. Don't feed into that. See, a lot of women want to feel that they have value, but unfortunately, some broken women place that value behind a male's attention. And so when they are looking for you to go out with, they're looking, oh, well, he's giving me time. He's picking me up. He's buying my drink. He's paying for me because I'm important. Because I'm pretty. Of course he wants this. But they have no regard. They have no intention of dating you. And if you go back to last episode last year, I was saying that some women who act that way create a bitterness in men because men realize later, I've been used.
Right.
I took out on these many dates and she had no interest in me whatsoever. So you know what? Screw women. Forget them. I'm not going to.
Yeah, then that guy becomes a dog.
He becomes a dog. And then you blame him for how your sisters treated him. Right. And one more thing, women.
I'm not saying it's right for him to become a dog either, but, I'm just saying I understand it in those situations.
And I'm not going to apologize for this, is that some women in the audience looking at me like right now, like, oh, how dare he talk like that? Not all women like that. But you women know what I'm talking about. You've seen other women do it. You have friends that do this and you condone that behavior. And that goes back to episode, I believe, 1 about women being united. Go back and check out episode 1. Is that women are not united in that sense. Is that you see other women do exactly what I'm talking about and you condone it. And that's the problem. But so no, a man should not have to pay for your meal on the first date. So who cares if it demonstrates he provides for you? You provide for yourself. Who cares if it says he can pay for the mortgage? You could pay for your own mortgage, or you should be. Who cares if it says he reaches this status? What is your status? That's all that matters, is if you could pay for your own, you can pay for your mortgage, and you have your own status, not a man. That's what I got to say for that.
Well, to answer the question, I think that the guy should pay for the first meal if it's genuine and it's organic. And let me explain. You meet a nice lady out. You guys talked on the phone for a couple. You meet her out, not on the app, like we talked about in the last episode in 2018. But you meet her in person, and it went real well. And you guys have been talking, texting back and forth, and getting on the phone, And it's time for the first date. And the guy says, "Hey, what are you doing this Friday? Can I take you on a nice dinner?"
Did she reply?
And she replies, "Yeah, that'll be nice. That sounds good." And man, if you feel like it's genuine and this woman is worthy, I would say, yeah, go ahead and pay. But me personally, It's not even about that. For me, if it's real and organic and I see this as genuine, this woman is worthy of me investing that type of money in a first date, then I'll do it and I have no problem. You know what I'm saying? Because she's shown me like, hey, it's real, it's organic, I'm worthy, I'm someone worth getting to know and spending a dinner on a night. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's my answer. No, if you can tell the woman is just trying to use you, get a free meal, there's no interest. But yes, if it's real, organic, you invite her on a first date as the man and you want to get to know her, it's no problem. I think if the guy invites the woman on a date, he actually should pay. If she says it now, hey, well, why don't we go grab dinner this Friday?
She better pay. See what I'm saying? You better pay.
Guys, go Dutch.
Go Dutch.
If she says it like that.
Men, you work hard. You put in hours at work. You do overtime. You work hard. We men are hustlers. We work hard. Don't spend your money on someone you don't know.
Right.
She's a stranger. Now, if it's your girlfriend.
If it's your girl, that's different.
If it's your girlfriend.
Let's grab dinner this Friday.
Oh, if it's your wife, your girlfriend, you spoil her.
Yeah.
You give her flowers. You need to show her that you care. Write her a love letter.
Right.
Take her on a vacation. Spoil her, not too much.
Right.
But like I said, I didn't mean to get too deep. But the origin of a man paying for a woman's dinner, it all goes back to a time when women couldn't provide for themselves. They weren't a high number in the workforce. Men were the providers.
Right, back then.
They stayed home all day.
They stayed home. Yeah, that's where it derives from.
And when the man said, I want to take your daughter out to dinner, it's because the daughter, the girl, she's unemployed. She's not working. She can't take care of herself. Right. That's why he paid for a meal. But times have changed. Women are now CEOs. Mm-hmm. A CEO should be paying for my dinner. But see, if we're both CEOs, then it shouldn't matter. You see, because we're not looking at who pays for the first meal. We're paying attention to quality of character. Right. Quality of character exceeds the first meal. Right. And ladies, when you focus on the first meal or the first drink, that reveals your quality of character and that you're looking for a man to provide for you. And that's not the way things should be done in a relationship. Women, you would have great success with a guy you like if you hit him up and said, hey, would you like to get dinner? I'll pay. Because we men are always on this, is she interested? Is she interested? Is she interested? Right. But if you call him and say, hey, I'll take you out to dinner for once. Oh, man. Can you imagine? Like that happens, but it's rare. And when that happens, that makes a man know your interest. Mm-hmm. So some women ask me, how do you let a guy know that you're interested? Take him out to eat. Buy him a drink.
How do you let a guy know you're interested?
Yeah, buy him a drink.
Well, so you don't even got to go that far. Just simply reply. Like we talked about it in that one episode.
Yeah, so
that's funny.
It's mundane. To me, I don't think it's a big deal. But I think when you make it a big deal by saying he has to pay. Yeah,
women that think like that, that's bad.
He has to pay. And if he doesn't, girl, drop him. Yeah. If your mama's talking to you like that, if your auntie's talking to you like that, right. They're old school and they're leading you wrong because there's plenty of good men out there that won't pay for good reason. They don't know who you are. You don't deserve his wallet. You're just existing right now. You understand? And your existence isn't worth his hard-earned money. Right. But I'll meet you in the middle. If I call a woman up and I say, hey, let's go out to dinner. If I'm initiating the request, then I am implying that I got her.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
To me, that's normal. So.
And I bought you. Like if I, Mark or you, if I have a friend, I'll be, hey man, let's get some dinner, let's get a drink. I got you, bro. Like, that's what happens.
I've done that many times. I get the first round.
So it's courtesy. So it's not about your right to his wallet. It's a courtesy. Right. And if you look at it like that, you'll prosper.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I guess that's it for episode, 6. Once again, Happy New Year. That's our show. Tune in next week. Don't forget to subscribe and get answers to some great info on relationships from a man's perspective. Follow us on social media. Everything is going to be in the description. And remember, we're broadcasting the truth and exposing the lies. It's 2019. Oh, my goodness.
Can you imagine?
Again, it's inspired by his book, Amazon. Check it out. Just want to say it's a really good book. It's no shameless plugs. It's just telling you guys where it all derives from. Right. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace out. Peace out, guys.